Hey world, it's Ben with come back another video. I'm gonna preface this video by saying that if you didn't get a chance to watch my last video about Juneteenth, please check that out. I think it's a farce, and I think it's really disingenuous. And to also know that now there's a nonprofit organization that celebrates 1619. And if those don't know what 1619 is, and you're seeing these people walking around with 1619 shirts on, I promise you, that is nothing that should be celebrated. How in the hell would you be able to have something that represents allegedly when the first slaves were brought over to the Virginia colony in 1619? And I think it's so crazy because they say these first slaves that came over in 1619 or was captured and brought over to the Virginia colony in 1619 came from Angola. It's a Central American country in Africa. That country in Africa right now is very rich in minerals and rich in resources, but one of the poorest countries in the world, right? And that's where they say the first slaves in America come from, Angola. Why would anybody walk around with a 1619 t-shirt on? I mean, and forgive me, family, but to me, it's like someone who's been, assaulted or raped, walking around with the date that they was raped or assaulted. Who does that? Promise you, family. I don't know if you guys understood the movie that was called The Spook Sitting on the Front Porch. Check that out, because we have so many people out here that's part of the Afro-melanated community that love money, prestige, and have no problem stabbing their people in the back to get it. I mean, when I look at the characters in the Bible, and they talk about a person called Judas, I promise you, Judas is not a male. Okay, Judas is universal. That could be a male or female. And when you see all these individuals that's in Congress, how is it that the president and Congress can pass a bill making Juneteenth a national holiday, and you have all these so-called Afro-melanated people in Congress had no problem with it? The whole responsibility for people in Congress is to have the ability to write laws. Okay? Well, why wouldn't they write a law dealing with reparations? Because these same Afro-melanated congressmen and Republican senators, judges on the judicial branch, Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, how is it that they, not one of them, and they also have what they call the Black Congressional Caucus, or Congressional Black Caucus, where it's all the black congressional leaders. And I say leaders with a grain of salt. How can you lead if the people that you're allegedly leading don't benefit from it? Leaders are supposed to serve. If your leaders are receiving more benefits than you, how are they leaders? It's cognitive dissonance to think that religious leaders should be millionaires in a Christian nation. How is that? And the person that they want to project is Jesus. It doesn't make sense, because Jesus wasn't rich, allegedly. Are you serious? Or Yeshua, or whoever you call him. We have senior citizens today that are struggling, living under the poverty line because Social Security doesn't keep up with the cost of living, and now they're pretty much in a dire situation. But these congressional leaders have no problem with it, because their pension plan is a lot better than ours. How is it that Congress, when they retire, their pension is way better than the people that voted them in office? That doesn't make sense, family. That's just like me choosing someone that abused me all my life and I'm going to make them my leader. Knowing that this abusive person, when they retire, going to live a lot better than me. Who would want that person in Congress? It doesn't make sense. And so, like I say, for 1619, I mean, that's ridiculous. 1619 to me is just like Juneteenth. You dig? The history has been so distorted that it keeps you confused. I mean, ask yourself, family, if you Afro-melanated, ask yourself, where you come from? And where is the proof of that? Remember, 1619, they said the first group of slaves came from Angola. And Angola is one of the poorest countries in the world, which has some of the richest resources on that land in the world. So who's utilizing those resources? You dig? It just doesn't make sense. And for the fathers out there that got an opportunity to celebrate Father's Day, to me, I think that's so ridiculous. Because a father is not a dad. Okay? You don't walk around calling the person that, love your mother enough or love the significant other enough to, create life. Because when that baby comes into this world, after the age of 2, 3, 4, guess what they're calling you? They're not calling you father. Father is just a legal term. It's dad. Dad. It's dad or daddy. And those that are real dads, we wear that like a badge of honor. No child support, no divorce, no conflict with the mother will ever change that. Because the dad is someone that child knows that they can always depend on. A dad is the one that was changing those Pampers, was there when they were starting to walk, that cries when his child is injured or when his child is not happy, or when his child gets into a bad situation and you feel that you can't protect them, then there are tears. Not everybody get that. A father is a legal term that they put on divorce papers, that they put on paternity suit papers, that they put on, information when it comes to school or whatever. Who's the father? But a dad, that's someone special. That's someone that that you can always depend on. And nothing would ever change that. And so this past Father's Day, I felt, empowered because I know the type of dad I am. And I know my children love me and I love them. And this whole notion that everyone received that's not the case. There's a difference between a father and a dad. All fathers don't get that title as dad. Why you think when people remarry and they have other children from other relationships and you have a man come into that particular situation and love that child like his own, that child eventually would say, no, that's my dad. You dig? And I've been in that situation. From relationships I've been in that women had children, they look at me as a dad. They call me dad. From my own children, that to this day still call me dad. They don't call me by my first name. And I feel pretty comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, I won't be in an old folks home or a nursing home. Because remember, the way you judge yourself as a parent is indicative of how your children treat you when they get older, when they're adults. How your kids going to treat you then? Because the parent you are, because like I say, you're not going to get that dad title unless you was a dad. And that don't just encompass paying child support. Okay? So I thought I just wanted to come back with a little food for thought. I didn't want to do a video on Father's Day because not everybody are fathers. There's a difference between being a father and being a dad. Okay? So I salute all the dads out there and the daddies. You think it's an accident when you got your gal with you, and you know, a lot of times they call you daddy because they feel that spirit in you. You're a protector. A dad is a protector. You dig? So family, in the meantime, between time, in the Most High side, you bring joy. And being with is out of 5,000.